Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session created for a client that had very high anxiety linked to the idea of germs and bacteria. And for them, it really started during the pandemic, where lots of news reports and government guidance was about hand washing, spreading of germs, and that led to them to naturally find that they could be hypervigilant. And for a moment in time, they felt that they were rewarded, that they were keeping themselves and their family safe. But they continued that way of thinking even when there were, let's say, less issues surrounding COVID and the pandemic. Sometimes we learn things in one context and then keep the same way of doing things even when the variables change. And you're going to hear a reference towards the end of this hypnosis session where I use a metaphor of an umbrella, that having an umbrella when it's raining is very useful, but to keep the umbrella covering your head if you're outside and there is no rain no longer makes sense. And that's designed to pace their reality, that they have a choice. And there is a phrase here that I use a lot, which is the Goldilocks zone. And if you're familiar with the children's story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears, you'll be aware that Goldilocks is trying things like chairs and porridge and beds and trying to find the right one. When it comes to germs and bacteria, being not bothered at all about any kind of personal hygiene and bacteria and germs is reckless. So if you never wash your hands, even if you're dealing with raw food or raw meat, if you're dealing with things that could be, disgusting, and then putting that, fingers in your mouth, we can call that reckless. Most people would agree that's reckless. This client was at the hypervigilant end of the spectrum, and they were having multiple showers, multiple hand washing, cleaning, almost when it wasn't needed. It was the, well, what if and just in case mentality. So we can say that the extremities aren't useful, because if you're reckless, you might get sick because of germs. But equally, if you're hypervigilant all the time, then yes, you might be having less bacteria around you. But if that puts you in a state of constant anxiety, then all of that adrenaline and cortisol isn't good for your immune system anyway. So there is this optimum level. And for me, I consider the optimum level to wash your hands if you're preparing food, eating food, or having left the toilet, or if there's visible signs of dirt. And for most people, that would be a reasonable level of vigilance when it comes to germs and bacteria. So using the story of Goldilocks, we can say that that is just right. And there's that phrase used throughout this hypnosis session. It also uses a form of regression to a holiday that they had before the pandemic, where that was their default way of thinking about things. So this has regression, it has direct suggestions, it has metaphors, and a phrase of just right and back to normal several times, because the mind already knows what it was like before this. It just needs almost permission to go back to how things were. If you have, call it a fear of germs, mysophobia, obsessive compulsive hand washing and things like that, hopefully this session will help. But if you're looking for something a bit more customized, there will be a link in the show notes where you can schedule a completely free consultation call to explore working with me. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow your eyelids to close. That's it. And as they close, just feel a wave of relaxation. Breathing in a feeling of resourceful relaxation and exhaling any tension, any stress, any anxiety, slowly but surely in your outward breath. The deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you become. And the more relaxed you become, the more your imagination awakens. And I want you to recall a time, perhaps, when you were a child, hearing the story of Goldilocks for the very first time. That there was a little girl that found a house, and she tried a chair that was too uncomfortable, perhaps too small, but then found something that was just right. And then found some porridge. One porridge too hot, one porridge too cold, and another just right. And then imagine being Goldilocks and finding 3 beds. Imagine one of these beds being too soft, another bed feeling too firm, too hard. And then imagine a 3rd bed. But imagine that this bed isn't in a bear's house in a forest. I want you to imagine that this bed is in a beachside villa, perhaps in the Maldives. And imagine that that bed is just right. Imagine placing yourself on that bed, feeling your head on the pillow. Maybe you could imagine hearing the waves of a nearby beach as your head is resting on a pillow on a comfortable bed that is just right. I'm going to count down from 10 to 1, and with each descending number, you will imagine feeling how you would feel when your relationship with germs and bacteria was just right. Not reckless, but not hypervigilant. I want you to recall a time, perhaps, when you were in a villa by the sea, and your relationship with germs was just right. 10, just feeling your eyelids getting heavier and heavier. That's it. 9, just releasing any tension in your forehead. 8, your jaw, just loosen those muscles, release any tension. That's it. And then 7, just notice that when you breathe in and breathe out, it's deeper and longer, giving you a wonderful feeling of calm relaxation. And then 6, just release the tension in your neck and your shoulders. Just feeling like your head is so light and floaty. And then 5, just imagine your arms next to your body on that bed in that villa, just feeling limp, loose and heavy, just so relaxed, like the limbs of a puppet with no strings. Feeling so relaxed. And then 4, just imagine all of those internal organs all at the same time, releasing tension, releasing anxiety, feeling more relaxed, your stomach, your lungs, your heart, your gut. releasing any sensation of anxiety or stress. Just have it all melt away. Feel it leave your body in that outward breath. And then 3, just feel like your legs are also feeling so relaxed, limp, loose and heavy. And then 2, just imagine a wonderful sensation, so calm, so relaxed, all the way down, deep down. 2 and then 1, just imagine even your toes are relaxing all the way up to the top of your head, and just imagine drifting off into a dreamlike sleep in that comfortable bed that's just right, there on a villa, perhaps in the Maldives, and allow your physical body to stay there. As your imagination sees you sleeping on the bed, but takes a walk to the beach or to a private pool, feeling a wonderful sensation of how things were when everything was just right. Perhaps you could imagine finding a comfortable sun lounger, looking out over the ocean or the pool. As your mind awakens to thinking about things in a new way, imagine seeing germs and bacteria as a natural part of life, not something dangerous, just a part of the world around you. Feel a sense of calm as you update your belief system, knowing that germs are not to be feared but just managed with common sense. Remember how things used to be, when you used to wash your hands only when necessary, maybe when preparing food or after using the toilet, but remember that time when you didn't need to wash them compulsively. And you can picture yourself evaluating situations rationally, understanding when hand washing is needed and when it's not. Always looking for that Goldilocks zone, freeing yourself from unnecessary anxiety. So feel a sense of relief as you acknowledge that the anxiety from hypervigilant thoughts about germs is actually more harmful than the germs themselves. As you start to imagine reducing the stress and anxiety connected with thoughts about germs, knowing that lower levels of adrenaline and cortisol will strengthen your immune system. You can't be at your healthiest if your body is treating germs like a life or death situation. So imagine believing that it's not the germs causing anxiety, but the thoughts about germs. And in doing so, you empower yourself to change those thoughts. Feel that things are changing, going back to normal, going back to how they used to be. and that part of you that wants to keep you safe from germs will now use that same energy and diligent focus on keeping you safe by maintaining low anxiety levels, helping you to stay in that Goldilocks zone. Feel a balanced level of vigilance, adjusting to that ideal zone where your awareness is just right. Not reckless, not panicky, not too high, not too low, but just right. And right now, give permission to yourself to return to a proportionate view of germs, aligning your vigilance with actual risk rather than emotions. You'll find yourself looking for opportunities to recalibrate your germ vigilance by deciding not to shower or clean your hands when it just isn't necessary. You will consider these victories because your unconscious will evaluate that you're not doing these things because they aren't needed, helping you to lower your overall levels of anxiety. Feel empowered to change your thoughts about germs, knowing you have the control to shift your focus and reduce anxiety by slowing down your inner dialogue, making it less certain and full of doubt, quieter or further away, and changing those what-if questions to what-if questions that presuppose something good and wonderful will happen. What if things return to normal? What if you only wash your hands when necessary? What if your perception on germs goes back to how it used to be when everything was just right? Feel at ease in situations that used to trigger that hypervigilance, knowing that you are safe and in control. See yourself calming any fears about hygiene situations, meaning that you can respond appropriately without the need for excessive washing. And start to imagine a future like your past, where you are free from compulsive behaviors. See yourself confident in your ability to manage hygiene with rational thinking. Your emotions are a reflection of your thoughts, and you can be in control of your thoughts with practice. So feel the peace of mind that comes from knowing that your immune system is stronger without the constant stress and anxiety about germs. Imagine a balanced approach to hygiene, where your actions are guided by practical needs rather than fear-based thoughts. Just because you can disinfect areas, hire pest control doesn't mean you need to or have to. So imagine that future where you have a healthy perspective on germs, where you're focused on living life fully without undue concern. And maybe you could imagine yourself doing those activities that you used to enjoy. But imagine doing them without the burden of excessive worry. Feel a sense of normalcy returning. If your unconscious mind wants things to return back to how it used to be, let me know by nodding your head. Feel that if it was possible before, it's possible again. You just need to train your brain by doing things the way you used to do them, accepting that it is the anxiety that will back down before you do. Feel a calm and composed demeanor returning, especially in situations that previously triggered anxiety around germs. Feel a dial is being turned from hypervigilance to just vigilance. Let's call it the Goldilocks zone. Not reckless, not panicky, just right. You can control your thoughts and reactions. And if there is a feeling of panic that comes up, just allow it to be temporary. Acknowledge the anxiety. Allow it to pass. You may not be in control of your first thought, but you can be in control of your subsequent thoughts. Thoughts that will come to mind more frequently are thoughts like, I am safe. There is no threat, there is no risk. I don't need to wash my hands. I'm fine. And perhaps the most useful one of all, to reply with a what if anxiety question with, so what? Taking all of its power away to create compulsions that just fuel the very anxiety you want to avoid. Very soon you will return to the present, but imagine returning to the present with a sense of ease and confidence, knowing that your approach to germs and bacteria is both practical and balanced, returning to that ideal, normal, healthy respect for dirt and germs. As you leave the beach, see that your conscious mind is still fast asleep on a comfortable bed in a villa. Step into that version of you, updating your mind, values and beliefs just to how they used to be. The times of hypervigilant have passed. It's fine to have an umbrella when it's raining, but why keep the umbrella on a sunny day? Your hypervigilance was an umbrella that was needed at one point in time. It's just no longer raining now. So feel that you can return to how things were before. Feel that you're returning to the present as you take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, connect fully with the present moment as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.